There was a famous Maggid of Voidislav who told a story that happened in his town. There was once a very fancy and expensive jewelry shop in the main street of the town, and one day a magnificent chariot pulls up right in front of the store, and an obviously very wealthy woman comes into the store, and she introduces herself to the storekeeper as the wife of a very world-famous professor who happened to live in the town. And tomorrow's her birthday, and her husband said, you can come into the store and choose any jewelry that you want. And of course, the store owner was very excited, and he's showing her all the different things that are available, and she has very fine taste, and she's choosing this bracelet and this necklace and this ring. And his eyes are popping out. She's taking the most expensive things. Oh, wait, my husband will write out a check for my birthday. He said, money's no object. And then she asked, will you accompany me back home? So I show my husband all the things that we chose out, and he'll give you the check when we get to the house. And so he gets into the chariot with her, and they come in the wealthiest street in the town, and they go, there's a row of magnificent houses where all the millionaires live, and they come in this big estate, and there's a sign on the door, Dr. So-and-so, and they go into the house, and she says, wait here a few minutes, and he's waiting, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, he's getting nervous, doesn't see her. Finally, he sees one of the servants, yes, is the professor in? Yeah, sure, go right in, that's his office. And he goes, and there's an old man with white hair sitting behind the desk, and he looks up and he says, yes, well, how can I help? He says, well, I'm here about the jewelry. He says, yeah, with a big smile. Sit down, tell me, when did your problem begin? Tell me, he says, what are you talking about? He says, I don't know, I'm a world-famous psychiatrist, and there was a woman here today who told me your whole story, that you're imagining that you're a jewelry salesman, and you keep hounding her for payment, that you wanted to pay for all the jewelry that she took, and she came. I said, if she'll bring you over, I'll be happy to help you. So tell me when your problems began. And he's talking, the man has already fainted on the floor, he's not there anymore. And he realized what had happened. So the Yetzer Hara does this to us all the time. The Yetzer Hara takes us on a trip, on a wild goose chase, and he promises us this and that, and we lose everything. We lose our midas, we lose our sense, we lose our zman, we lose our energy, we lose our koyach, all chasing after a dream we're just being duped, we're being fooled. And during this, instead of using our energies for what we could be accomplishing, we lose opportunity after opportunity because we're chasing an imaginary picture the Yetzer Hara invented to fool us. These few days are probably the tkufa, the time of year, an unbelievable amount of opportunity. And if we don't understand what's available to us, we can lose so much. There are a few days left to Sefirah Shiurim. I remember as a little child, once had a bet with one of my little cousins. We had an argument, who can count to 1,000 the fastest? So we made a bet. And I started, counting 1, 2, 3. And at a few seconds he says, I'm finished. I said, how did you finish? I just started. So I counted by hundreds. You count by hundreds, you can get there quicker. Everybody understands that when there's an opportunity, if you can count singles, he counts it. If you can count hundreds, you grab that opportunity. There's some Sefirah that says that the Yemei HaSefirah, the aliyah that a neshama could have, we know we're always trying to elevate ourselves, to be nisraimim, to gain, to grow in our avodah, and it's a lot of hard work to lift up a neshama from one level to the next. And the some Sefirah says that in the days of Sefirah, one day of Sefirah is equal in spiritual accomplishment to 2 years of avodah in a regular time of the year. So we're talking about, we're coming to an opportunity, and it's more than that, because the days of Sefirah, the Sfarim HaKadoshim tell us, is not one day at a time. That each day encompasses all the days before. We count, we don't say, Hayoim Yoim Chamisha V'Arboim. We don't say today is the 45th day. We say today is 45 days. Chamisha V'Arboim Yoim, we say. Because every day includes all the days that were up to it. So in the last few days of Sefirah, the most powerful energy that there is in Sefirah Shiurim, and the greatest opportunity to take and to grab, to be choitiv, to use in this last week, which is the week of Malchus. And the idea of Malchus, we've been learning about all the midas in the past 6 weeks, but the Sfarim explained that Malchus is when you take all the energy and all the midas that we've been learning about, and all that koyach, and now you bring it out into the world of potential. Malchus is to be manig, to actualize. You run a government, you have to organize all the facets of a country, bring it all together in a mesudedic, organized fashion. Then you have a Malchus, then you have a Memshola. And this is the time of Sefirah Shiurim. We take all the midas of Chesed, Gvura, and Teferes, and Netzach, Yisoid, and we take that all, and we create a Mamlocha, a Malchus, out of that, a real entity, and we experience change, and we go out of the Meitzorim, and we experience a Yetzias Mitzrayim. Now, how do we go about this? How do we affect this? What is meant to be our avodah in these last few days of Sefirah? Well, first, let's discuss our machshavas, how we're meant to think and how we're meant to feel, what our hashkaf is meant to be. Chazal tell us how the Rebbeinu Shalom went to all the nations to offer them the Torah. He went to Malchus Edom, and Edom said, "Mike Sivbe." What does it say? It says, "Lo Sirtzach." So Edom turned down the Torah. Yishmael said, "Mike Sivbe." What does it say? It said, "Lo Sinov." Some say, "Lo Signov," different girsois. And they turned down the Torah till they come to Klal Yisrael. The Rebbeinu Shalom came to Klal Yisrael, and Klal Yisrael said, "Nasa v'nishman." There's a kasha asked, the famous kasha, what kind of shatchen goes, and the first thing he does brings out the worst points in the shidduch. The Rebbeinu Shalom is trying to find the shidduch for the Torah. He goes to Edom. You know that Edom is diametrically opposed by nature to the lav of Lo Sirtzach. So wouldn't it make sense? You tell first Edom about Sukkis, about this Latkes on Chanukah, this Mishalach Monas on Purim. There's so many things in Yiddishkeit that you could tell him before you. By the way, you slip into a little problem here. There's an Isser of Lo Sirtzach, but don't worry, No, the first thing you tell him is Lo Sirtzach. The first thing you tell Yishmael is Lo Signov, is Lo Sinov. What kind of way is that to present the Torah? And the Torah that's given is that when the Rebbeinu Shalom approached them with the Torah, the minute they asked Mike Sivbe, as soon as they questioned what's in it, with that they've already showed that they're not a shidduch for the Torah. Because our attitude to the Torah has to be the first element of our hashkafa before Kabbalah SaTorah. Nasiv v'nishma means that we understand that if the Rebbeinu Shalom is presenting us with the Torah, Rebbeinu Shalom is giving us this shidduch, that means that this is good for us. There's nothing in the Torah that's detrimental to us. There's nothing in the Torah that doesn't heal us. Everything, we are mevatel ourselves, we humble ourselves to the seichel of Torah, to the das of Torah, to the rotzen of HaKadosh Baruch, and we'll be fine. Because we understand the Torah is the best thing for us. If somebody doesn't realize that it's the best, he already has no shayach. The Rebbeinu Shalom where he tell right away the chesroinus, keep away, the Torah is not for you. So the first thing, if we realize and we understand that the Torah is perfect for us, but then there's the next element, and here's where the midah of Malchus is so important for us. Just like we have to know and believe that the Torah is perfect for us, so too we are mechuyev to believe that we are perfect for the Torah. If the Rebbeinu Shalom read this shidduch, and he took his beloved daughter, the Torah Akdosha, which is koilel all of Bria Shamayim v'Aretz, from before Bria and La'acha Bria and Soides and Chochmas Hashem. And the Rebbeinu Shalom knows us. It's not like a shidduch, you can hide some information and you don't say everything out. Every machshava, every dibber, every maisa we ever had, the Rebbeinu Shalom knows exactly. And yet he said, you are the zivig for the Torah. So we have to believe and know. If the Torah is perfect for us, it goes both ways. We as Klal Yisrael, we are perfect for Torah. And how do we connect to Torah? By learning Torah. And every time we learn Torah, we're broadening Torah. We're being mevarer, being malabim, we're expanding the Torah. Because as it says, V'sein chelkeinu b'soyrasech on the Svaram HaMazbeh, that every single one of us has a chelik in Torah, a chelik that corresponds to our neshama, a chelik that we have to bring out on this world, a revelation in Torah that's dependent on our yigiyas HaTorah. And that's why when one wastes time from Torah, it's called bittul Torah. We don't say bittul lulav, we don't say bittul matzah, we don't say bittul tefillin, because that's just being mevatel a mitzvah saseh. But if I'm mevatel Torah, I'm depriving the world of that bit of Torah that's mine to reveal. So I'm mevatel from the atzmius of the Torah itself, because now the world is lacking that Torah that I was meant to be megala. And all of us have this chelik, this v'sein chelkeinu b'soyrosecho. I tell a Maisa, the Reb Chaim Volozhin had a younger brother, Reb Zalmala Volozhin. Reb Zalmala was a goyin, otzum, v'kodesh. When he was a little boy, he had an older brother, Reb Simcha. Simcha was already a teenager, and he had made a siyum on Shishe Sidrei Mishnah Balpeh with an unbelievable bekiyas and a hekef, versteht sich, lefi madregosoi. And his parents made a huge suda to celebrate this accomplishment. And little Zalmala was about 4 years old. Zalmala was 4 years old at the time, and he said to his parents, "What are you making such a big fuss?" He finished a little sefer. He showed them the Mishnah. It was a small sefer. He says, "But I'm going to finish all the big svarim in the svarim shop. I'm going to finish." So his father asked, "How do you know you're going to finish it? What do you mean?" He said, "I have a very good memory, and the Malach already taught me the whole of Torah. I'll just learn it over a few times, and I'll remember what was taught to me. It was already put into me. The Torah has already been put into us. It's there. It's our chelik. It's connected to us be'etzem, and we bring out what's there, what's in our shorish neshama." The story told by Rabbi Aaron Kotler during, I think, when after the communist takeover, they called in many of the Rabbanim, the Rosh Yeshiva. They were hounding them. They were taking them to court cases and they asked them all sorts of questions, accusing them of subversive activities. And Rabbi Aaron was dragged into court, and they were going to question him. And as he left, he took with him, he had notes of the shir that he was going to say that day, and he took it with him into the courtroom. And while they're deliberating there, he's reading his notes. And the judge said, "Hey, what are those scribblings you have? What do you have written down on that paper? Tell us what's there." And Rabbi Aaron stood up, and he knew many of these chevra were Nebuchadnezzar, and some of them were even ex-yeshiva bachim. We know what happened, who became communists. And Rabbi Aaron got up, and he said, "Okay." And he started saying a shir in Yevamis. He started saying the shir. "You want to know what's on the paper? I'll tell you." And he's koching and he's screaming. And they started laughing at him. "This, a genius like you, this is what you're busy with." And Rabbi Aaron said, "This is my Torah. This is just as much your Torah and your Torah and your Torah. It belongs to all of you. All of you have a chelik in Masechta Yevamis. It's not just me that's talking. I'm speaking and saying what's in every single one of your neshamas." But to realize that and to believe that with an emes, that I make a difference in Torah Hashem in the world, that my haravanya, my yigiyah in Torah Hashem is revealing and bringing out Kvod Shamayim in the world, takes a tremendous gevura. To have that hasaga, to have that conviction, and to really believe it, we need to have the midah of Malchus. There's a terrible Yetzer Hara, a very destructive tool that the Yetzer Hara has. And the Yetzer Hara always tells us the opposite of this. The Yetzer Hara tells us that we're meruchik, that we're distanced from the Torah, that we don't make a difference, that our learning doesn't count, or that we're so pogum, we've sinned so much, and we're so meshukitz and mutuav, that all these things it says in the Svarim about Limud Torah doesn't refer to me. It's talking about other people. It doesn't speak to Torah Bizman Hazeh, or Torah that I'm learning. And this is a tool of the Yetzer Hara that's been especially reserved for the time of Ikvus the Mashiach. And to understand how to deal with this Yetzer Hara, we need to look a little bit deeper into the Shoirish of Malchus. We know that David, the Midah of Malchus, the seventh week of Sefirah, corresponds to David HaMelech. David, Malchut, Mashiach, the Melech of Klal Yisrael. David, Melech Yisrael, Chai V'Kayam. And the roots of Malchus-based David, we know, come from Yehuda, from Shevet Yehuda. And we know at Kabbalas HaTorah there was a Maimed Nisgov of a Chol Ha'om Royim Es HaKoilos. We were able to see the Koil Hashem. We don't understand what that means because we don't understand how Einayim could be Toifus Koil, but that's what it says in the Torah. And the Chassam Sofer says there was another time when there was this musik, this concept of Royim Es HaKoilos, and that was when Yosef and Yehuda faced off in Parshas Vayigash. And they were having their vikuach, and Yosef finally announced, "Ani Yosef, v'lo yochlu lanos osa ki nivalu miponov," which that moment of revelation, which Chazal say on this, "Oilonu miyoyim adin, oilonu miyoyim ateichecho." That moment of revelation says, "Ki einechem royois ve'einei ochi bin yomim kifia medaber aleichem." The Chassam Sofer says, "Einechem royois." That was such a revelation. It was a gilui like Kabbalas HaTorah, and they were royim es hakoilos. They were able to see the koil and sense it in the same way that they sensed it by Kabbalas HaTorah. Now, if we analyze this parsha, it's a very difficult parsha to understand. You look in the Midrash, in the Medrash Chanchuma, it explains there was a whole conversation. There was a dialogue between Yehuda and Yosef is expressing very clear tinus, Yehuda says, Avdecha Orav Esana. So Yosef says, yeah, why weren't you in Orav when you sold your younger brother? He says, your father's going to die from Agmas Nefesh. How did your father survive when you sold that younger brother of yours? And each thing, and Yehuda wasn't answering. You look in the Medrash, Yehuda keeps saying, I'll kill you, I'll destroy Mitzrayim, I'll break down the marketplace, I'll go up, my brothers will turn Mitzrayim into rivers of blood. Here, Yosef is tining reasonable tiness, is expecting answers, and Yehuda is just answering him with threats. What was the give and take over him? Further, it's very difficult to understand, even from the Parasha and Chumash, before you see the Midrashim. Yosef keeps on dropping hints. He sets them up in order, Hagadol, the oldest, according to, and the youngest, each one in a Seder. And he's constantly talking about the brothers and bringing back, and certainly it looks like he's actually trying to evoke suspicion that there's something going on. You look in the Medrash, it says it even stranger. As they were in the room, he started telling him, he starts giving all sorts of hints. He says, the brother that you said is dead, he's not dead. He was sold to Mitzrayim. And you want to know something? I bought him. They say, where is it? Look around. He's in this room. We're in the room. They start looking up in the face. And Yosef. What is this? It looks like he's playing around with them. Closer, till I'll reveal to you that Ani Yosef. Why? It almost looks like he wanted them to guess on their own without him telling them. What was the purpose of all this? In the Medrash it says that when Yosef and Yehuda faced each other, the Malachi Ashura said to each other, let us go and see how the shor does battle with the ari, how the ox fights the lion. Let us see who is going to win this battle. What did they want to see? What was so interesting about the battle? And what is the meaning, the deeper understanding of the battle of the ox and the lion? When Yosef HaTzadik revealed himself, it says, Oy lonu miyoyim hadin, Chazal say, because that was a moment of unbelievable busha, ki nivalu miponov, from the busha. We've explained this concept before, that the sensation of busha is when something hidden becomes revealed. When we uncover something that should be uncovered, when it's nizgala kloinoi, we feel the sensation, we want to be covered, we feel busha. Yosef HaTzadik is the Tzadik Nister. He's the greatest soid in the world. V'heim loy hikiru. He was b'toich habor, b'toich ervas ha'oretz, hidden. And the revelation of Yosef is the revelation of the greatest secret in the world. And at that moment is the moment of ultimate busha, similar to the revelation that everyone will have when he'll see the truth, when he has to face his Yom Adin and Yom HaTeichecha, when all the hidden talumos will be revealed, which will be the ultimate busha. And that was mirrored in this expression of Yosef saying, Ani Yosef. Now, there are two avodas. There's an avodah of Yehuda and there's an avodah of Yosef. There's an avodah of Shor. Yosef is Bechor Shoirei Hodor Loi, and there's an avodah of Yehuda. Yehuda is the Ari, Gur Arya Yehuda. The Shor, which is Yosef, is the midah of din, where everything is earned. Kishor lo'oil v'kachamor lamasa. A shor works, he toils to get what's his. He doesn't take anything that doesn't belong to him. He doesn't take nahama d'chsufa, which means the bread of shame, something that's just given to him that's not coming to him. And at the root of this avodah is the inability to take busha. Yosef HaTzadik cannot be soivel abush. That's why he can't take anything that's not coming to him. As the Ramchal says, that's why we are on this world, to earn our schar and olam haba. So you shouldn't have to be ashamed of getting something that we didn't earn. And that's why at the very moment Yosef came onto this world, when his mother gave him a name, it was Osaf Hashem es cherposi. Hashem has gathered in my cherpo. There's no longer shame. And the whole avodah of Yosef, which is the kedusha of Midas HaYesoid, which is to be mekadesh and to be meroimim, even in yonim gashmi. Osaf Hashem es cherposi. The Rambam writes, there are chalokim in a person that are a cherpo be'etzem to the human species. And even that chelik, Yosef HaTzadik beroiv kedushasa, is Osaf Hashem es cherposi. He's able to take that's the kedusha of Yesoid, and turn that all into holiness, into sanctity. Yosef cannot be soivel abusha. He has to be earned. That is the avodah of the shor. And so we find that Yosef's HaTzadik's Nisoyan was with Eishes Poitifar. And the Nesoyin, it says in the Medrash that it was Nisgalatim, Roye Zoynes Yevad Hoin, Toiv Shem Toiv Mehoin. If you will sin, you will be humiliated, you will be shamed, you will be disgraced. L'deroyin oilam, you will lose your Shem Toiv, your name won't be able to be on the Choshen. And the Avodah was to overcome the Yetzer Hara and not become nisbaza. Never have something in my existence, in my life, that I have to be ashamed of. To be tzaddik yisoid oilam, perfection itself. An Ari, Chazal tell us, how does an Ari eat? An Ari doesn't work, he doesn't toil. Ari doiris v'oichel, he grabs, he takes even what's not coming. He's a beast of prey. And when Yehuda was born, the Lord, Hapam Oides Hashem, Rashi says, Notalti Yosef Michelki. I took more than is coming to me. I'm not entitled to a fourth child. An Ari is Yehuda. Yehuda is not afraid of a busha. Yehuda's miloshen hoida. Oide v'lo yevosh. What was Yehuda's nesoyin? Yehuda's nesoyin by the mice of Tamar was they were taking out Tamar to be burned, and she said, "L'miya she'ela, the one who this belongs to, that's the one who I'm hora." And he said, "Sot komi meni b'fnei kol am ve'edo." He accepted the busha. He accepted the bezoyin, and he continued after that busha. That is the avodah of the Ari. That is the avodah of the Melech. And here the Shor and the Ari were facing each other. Yosef did not want the brothers to be embarrassed, didn't want them to go through a shame. And the Svarim HaKadoshim HaMasber that this battle was actually a siman for La'osid Lavoi. Here there was a Melchama on how the ultimate Geula is going to be. There's going to be a Mashiach ben Yosef and a Mashiach ben David. Yosef's Mashiach is a Mashiach that we earn. A Mashiach of perfection, a Mashiach that we can accept without having to be ashamed of anything. And Yosef HaTzadik didn't want that he should have to reveal himself without the brothers figuring out on their own, because then there's going to be this terrible busha when he says, Ani Yosef. And if there's going to be that busha, that's going to stempel how the Geula Asida is going to be. And Yosef cannot bear a busha. And Yosef was prepared to die. As the Medrash says, they threatened to kill him. And he knew that if they kill him, no one will ever know what happened to Yosef. He was going to die in oblivion. He'll be lost forever. The whole story will never be known. No one will know what happened to him. Rather than that the Shiftei Kor should go through a busha. But what did Yehuda say? Yehuda was the opposite. Yosef wanted them to work and work until they figure out the truth on their own, till they come to the Madreg of Yushnei Marum V'lo by Shosha. They'll understand the depth, and they'll be Mekadesh even in Yonim that is Cherpe, and come to such a level of Kedusha of Yosef HaTzadik, and they will not have to suffer this revelation. But Yehuda's an Arius Doiris V'oichel. And Yehuda says, the Geula Asida, we may not be roy for it. There may be, when Mashiach comes, there may be still parts of us that still needs a lot of tikkun. There may still be things that we'll be ashamed of. But we go further. We're not afraid to accept the busha. That is the avodah of Malchus. That is the avodah of David HaMelech. Chazal tell us in Masechta Yuma, Shol ba'achaz v'lo yolsaloi, David b'shtayim v'olsaloi. Shol, who was from the children of Rachel, had one Aveira, he left over Agag v'loy Olsla. He lost his Melucha because he couldn't sustain a Melucha when there's a Taina, when there's a Pgam. David b'shtayim, there were two Chatam, the Chet of Uriah and the Chet of the Hassasa with the minion, and all of that, B'chol Zoysa was Olsaloy. Because David HaMelech can continue even if there's a Taina, even if there's something that I have to be ashamed of, even this entire Prokim in Nach that seem to be talking about David HaMelech in ways that bring out kindness. David HaMelech remains Mashiach Hashem. And that is what the Malachim wanted to see at this battle. Because this ability to be able to say, I have to do what I have, and we'll make the cheshbonis later. And even if I may not be Roy, I'm going to jump ahead, which was the Avodah of Yehuda. They were standing around the Yamsuf. Should we go? Shouldn't we go? Nachshon ben Yehuda says he's from Shevet Yehuda. I'm jumping into the Yam. We'll worry about it later. That is what Nasa v'Nishma is. And Nasa v'Nishma, because I'll tell us in the Pasuk, Baruch Hashem Alochav Giboirei Koyach, Mi Gila Lebonei Rozeh Shemalach Yashares Mishtamshim Boy. Only the Malachim say Nasa v'Nishma. They wanted to see who was going to win this battle. How is the Geula Asida going to be? Is it going to be according to the terms of Yosef? Or is it going to be to the terms of the Ari, who's Dairis V'Oichel, who says Nasa before the Nishma? On Shavuos, we lay in the story of Rus, Megillas Rus. We know, the Sefirah HaKadoshim teach us, that the whole Megillah of Rus is about the transmission of the Nitzutz of Mashiach that came from Moav, noch from the story of Lot, and traveled through different Sinoiris, some of them apparently murky Sinoiris, and here again, the story of Yehuda and Tamar, and again Boaz and Rus, which the Al-Shach HaKadosh says was a reenactment of the story of Lot. That's why it says Vatovei Balot. We have Lot's name even mentioned over there. And this was to create the Malchus of Mashiach. What was Rus told? No one was ever told in more clearer terms, go away, you're not wanted. Shoivno, leichno, halohein tisaberno. What are you waiting for? Shuvi achre yevimtech. You're not wanted here. You want to become a Yid? Open up and look what it says in the Torah about you. There's a pasuk about you, Rus. Lo yovei amoini umayavi b'kal Hashem. You're not wanted. You're not a meyuches. You can't join these ranks. Yet Rus was not put off. She didn't fall from that busha. Which is the first words in the Megillah of Rush Tachsam is the Rosh Tevus of busha. Because the koyach of a melech is oide v'lei eivosh. Let there be tinish. Let there be a pasuk in the Torah against me. But amech ami v'lei kayach eloi koyach shetel chielech v'asher tolini olin. And I'm going to join you, Naomi. And you're going to take my neshama, the nitzutz that's been spread out, who knows where, how far, to Moav. And there's a Naomi, is there Shetevus Mekabetz Nitchayama Yisrael. And this nitzutz that you wanted to throw away, this is Mashiach. This is Tikkun Ha'olam. If this spark is lost, the world is finished. And here it was, in a place where it said, go away, we don't want you. And the whole Megillas Rus is full again and again with the word Geula, Goyalech. Anoichi Ego mi Goyaleinu. Here was the secret of Geula. Being able to push ahead even when we're pushed back. Even when we have nothing to answer. Yehuda had no answers for the tainus Yosef said. So what? Oide v'lo yevosh. David b'shtayim v'olsaloi. David HaMelech. You look in the Chidah, the Sefirah HaKadoshim, they talk about how David HaMelech's neshama came from the Imkei HaKlipos Mamish. There's a lashon on the Sifrei Reb Tzaddik. It's a lashon that it's the nefesh ho'achroina shebe'ekev. We know that the neshamas go, there's a koima, and some of the neshamas come from the roish and from the guf, and the lowest neshamas come from the ekev. That's why we're the ikvus of the Mashiach, and David HaMelech's neshama is the last nefesh and the ekev. There's such a lashon. And that's why David HaMelech's name, we know by the Kabbalah, there's a Korban Osher, there's an Oni, and then there's the Dalei Dalas, the Dal Shebedalim. And David HaMelech's name is a Dalit in the beginning and a Dalit at the end. The Dal Shebedalis. David HaMelech was called a Mamzer. David HaMelech was called a Psul Kol. There was no bezdin who would allow him to get married. Lo yovei amoinu meyavi b'kal Hashem. The neinekal of Amanu Moav. When Shmuel came to anoint a king, and they brought the 7 children of Yishai, didn't even think of calling this son who was Admoini, who was a Shoirish from Edom, wie es steht in the Sefirah HaKadoshim. He was mamish mushlach la'ashpo. And in this mokim that was mushlach la'ashpo, here was Mashiach Hashem. Here was Tikkun Ha'olam. Here was the salvation of the world forever. L'netzach netzachim. Mikimi me'ofer dol. May ashbois yorim evyoin. Lohoishivim nedivim. Not just you took me out of the ashbois, but you put me together with the nedivim. Nedivim yami to make me a melech. Not just a melech for one generation, a melech for all time. David melech Yisrael. David who had no life of his own. Lastly, migarmei klum. He was meant to die the moment he was born. If he wouldn't have gotten a matana of 70 years of life from Adam Arisha, and he had no life, he had no schus to live. And what happened? David Melech Yisrael, Chai v'kayom. He's the one who lives forever. The bushes, the bezyonis that David HaMelech had to be soivel. The pasuk with Sali Samchu v'nesafu, Koru v'loi domu. The Gemara Metzia tells us, what did he say this pasuk? David HaMelech said to the Rebbeinu Shalom, Go live yodua lefanecho. Shim hoyu mekarim b'sarf, you would tear my flesh, lo hoya domi shoyses, my blood wouldn't even run out anymore from the pain. Shafilu b'shor, she'oiskim b'negoyim v'aholas, we're learning in negoyim v'aholas to teach the chalokim in Torah. They come and they say to me, David, habo aleishes ish misosoi b'ma. What punishment does one get for being over the Yisra of Eishes Ish? That's how they taunted him. But he's not pushed back by the bushes, by the bezyonis. And that's the Yeshua. That's the Mashiach Hashem. That's what it says on the Svarim. That if you look at that pasuk, Mekimi Me'afadol, there's every few words ends with a Yud. Lohoishivi, Hamakbihi, Mekimi, Lohoishivim, Nedivim. What is those Yuds? What is the meaning of it? The Yud is the one Yud that allowed David to be loved b'kol. If it would said Loyovei Amoin Umoyov, you wouldn't be able to dash in Amoini v'loy Amoinis, Moyavi v'loy Moyavis. That little Yud, that Kutzei Shel Yud. And when he was thanking the Rebbeinu Shalom, he's speaking about his Baba Ruth, who that nitzutz of Kedusha was able to overcome all of the busha. That's a melech. That's the midah of Malchus. If you look in the Rambam and Ilchas Malachim, he has a whole perik, how you meant to be mechabed HaMelech. Soim tosim olecho, melech shetei emosay olecho. And it's frightening, the covet you have to give for a melech. And a melech is not only going to be moichel on his covet. Melech shemach la kvoide en kvoide mochel. There are tachsisei melucha. There are trappings of majesty that have to be stuck to. And yet, while the nation has the mitzvah to treat the melech with pachad, and if someone is moed b'malchus, he's chayiv misa, doesn't need a bezin, he's chayiv misa being moed b'malchus. Yet the melech has one mitzvah. There's one mitzvah the Torah melech has. Actually, on the mitzvah on himself personally. Levilti rum levavoy. Yachad, with all the tachsisim and all the gadas and all the cover that there are a mitzvah liyois beliboy shofol v'cholo. So a melech's life is a total contradiction. His heart is meant to be shafal v'cholol, broken, and yet he's meant to act and go forward, stuff like a melech, and not to be moichel on his covered 1 inch. That's the midah of Malchus. I know I have chesroinus, I know I have weed, I know I still have cheshboinus I have to make with the Rebbeinu Shalom. I know there's bushes, I know there's tainus, but yet I jump into the yam, I'm doiris v'oichel, I continue. Natalta Yosef Michelki. It's been said that you can tell the essence of a nation by its music. The Shir of Klal Yisrael, the Ne'im Zemiris Yisrael, David HaMelech, sings for Klal Yisrael. David HaMelech, who's lestle migarmei klum, who in his heilige Tilim put every single one of our hergeshim, every single matzav will ever go through, and the Rebbe Tzaddik has an arichis, that all of Rabbi Melech is leif kol ha'om, so all of our neshamas would nichlal in the neshama of David HaMelech.
And that's, he says, the chelik that we feel within ourselves, we feel agmas nefesh, we feel yisun when we do an avera, that is the nitzitz of neshama that's one with David HaMelech, and that is called the nitzitz of Mashiach that we each have within us. And when we have agmas nefesh for a chet, that is the yisun that's mechaper, and that connects us to David HaMelech. And when David HaMelech sang, when David HaMelech was mispalel, and all the tilim, how it goes from aliyas to yeridis, all of that is us, is talking about us. Ve'elu shmois b'nei Yisrael haboyim mitzraymo, referring to the names of every single yid and every golos haboyim. The Megal HaMukah says the Rosh Tevis Babel, Edom, Yovan, Modai, and the Sefer Tevis is Tehillim. Ve'elu shmois b'nei Yisrael haboyim. The Sefer Tevis is Tehillim because every single matzav and every single golos is included there. And the same David HaMelech who spoke for us when he said, "V'anoichi toilas v'lo yish cherpas odom ubezui am." I'm humiliated, I'm shamed. Kol roya yaliguli. Whoever sees me is a malik, he disdains me. Yaftiru besofa yoniu rosh. At the same David HaMelech, in the same kapitel, Hasapra shimcho le'echoi besoich kol halaleko. I'm not ashamed to sing to the Rebbeinu Shalom, to be Meshabeach, to be Meroim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because a Melech, as I'll tell us, Melech is poired together. A Melech has to go through a property, even if the gate is there, there's a lot of break through the gate. There are Gedorim, there are Mechitzis that are created that separate us. If a person doesn't have the Midah of Malchus, he'll never be able to bring out his Ritzoinus Mikoyach HaLapoil. He has to be able to break the Gedorim, and he can't let his sense of worthlessness get in the way. That's why Melech is the Rosh Tevis Moyach Leiv Koved. Person has to use his head to overcome the feelings of the heart and the feelings of the Koved, which is the Guf. And if he doesn't do that, it's the opposite. It's Kalem, it's Koved Leiv Moyach, it's destruction. And Kalem also is the same word as Klimo, Boish V'Kolem. Kalem is the opposite of Melech. If a person lets himself be pushed back, he feels unworthy. And he allows himself to be Boish v'kolem, and he can't serve the Rebbeinu Shalom unless he's feeling just right about it. The Sefirah Shiurim says, "V'afta Hashem lekecha b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha," taking away my nefesh. Says you have to dash and b'chol levavecha too the same way. I feel unoitlis levavecha. Sometimes our heart is taken away. Sometimes we just feel not up. We feel not right. We feel distance. We feel we're lacking so much. We feel the Torah is pushing us away. We feel the shul is pushing us away. The tilim is pushing us away. And David HaMelech knew every matzav and every hergish. And when he said, sometimes we relate to the psukim of Kipshoy Ani Eida v'chatosi negdi summit, and at the same time, Ma'ashiv Lashem Kol Tag Miloi Oloi, who certainly all of us have felt what it means, Tovati B'Yevein Mitzula, I feel like I'm drowning in the mud, Ve'ein Mamad, I don't have with us to base myself. Bosi B'Mamake Mayim V'Shiboyle Shtofosni Kibo Mayim Ad Nofesh. And yet the same neshama can learn a shtickle Gemara and have a geschmack and feel he wants to exult and sing more. Hafti soirasecha kol hayoim isichosi lulei soiroscha shashua zavadati ba'oni mitoiroscha loy notisi vayigba liboi bedarkei Hashem. That's what the midah of Malchus demands of us. Not to be turned back, but to push forward and to bring out the nitzitz of Mashiach, of Geul that's within every one of us. Reb Tzaddik in Tzidkes HaTzadik in Ois Kufla mit Ches is mevar the nisyonis of David HaMelech, and he explains that David HaMelech was the inyan of cheshek not being able to be fulfilled, always having a rotzen and a tshuka, and yet feeling that the lemaisa is taken away from us. Pa'amim ha'adam roya. Reading the Lashon of Tzaddik, Shehu choshek v'koisef la'avodas Hashem b'moyach v'leiv. He wants to serve the. His head tells him it's the right thing. His heart tells him it's the right thing. Aval kishemagia l'maisa eina matzliach. When it comes l'maisa, the Yetzer Hara gets a hold of him. He can't be matzliach. It says David HaMelech was tested with this all the time, to have a burning cheshek, He had a cheshek to build a Beis Hamikdash. Ad emtza mokim metin shnas lene lafapa isnuma ad emtza mokim lashem. And yet the Rebbeinu Shalom said he had a cheshek, and the cheshek is going to take it away from to be built by Shlomo HaMelech. And yet Chazal HaMegala to us that David HaMelech with his tshuka, with his rotzon, even if he didn't reach the chelik of Lemaisa, was Nikral Shmoy, and the Beis Hamikdash is called the house of David HaMelech. Because through the avodah of Malchus, the avodah of breaking through the Gedorim, the avodah of not being frightened, not turning back, we take our tshuka, we take our cheshik, and we build binyonim. Ritzoin Yirei of Yas, there's a taich from Tzadikim, Rotzoin Yirei of the Rotzon alone, Yasa, that is considered a Maisa. And we have to believe this, we have to live with this. There's a lashon in the Sefirah Shiurim, Kimoisha HaMalochim yesh l'chol echad shoirish miyuchad. Every malach has a root, lasois ritzoin HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'shlichusoi. So too for every yid is a chelik miyuchad b'Torah, as we spoke. And some are mesaken kol ma'asav legamri. It's a little bit frightening. Everybody has a chelik in Torah. The Baal Tanya writes that if a person doesn't achieve and accomplish his chelik in Torah on this world, he has to come back in a Gilgal until he gets it right. Pachat pchodim. Sagt es vasemes muotin heim b'nei aliyah. Very few of us actually reach and accomplish the goal than the shlichus that was sent here on this world to accomplish. Ach, sagt es Vasemes, gami she'ene kein, im kol ze al yidei hatshuke v'harotzoin, b'chila sagi, kimoi bal tshuva, yechoylin likpoitz l'mala mimadrei gosam. With the tshuka, with the rotzen, with the ksifa, David HaMelech poured out these are flames, this hot fire in the pages of Tilim, of rotzen, of tshuka, of tzomalacho nafshi, kamalacho besori, nichsefo v'gam kolso nafshi lechatzreis Hashem. David HaMelech says, Shama gate ois, I want to serve the Rebbeinu Shalom. There are manias, there are things that are holding me back. We have to know that every single one of these ritzoinis, every single one of these tshukas, this is Malchus, this is David, Melech HaMashiach, this is the nitzat of Mashiach that's within us. This is creating worlds, this is building palaces, this is bringing Geula. The Shemishmul brings some Misfalda Avnei Nezeh. If a person has an emes a tshuka for Torah mitzvahs, Efsheh sheyered legehenim. And even if we will have such sins that will go into Gehenim, hineni orev, I am an orev, said the Avnei Nezeh. Sheyemayr v'yof misham kechetz mikeshes, he'll be shot out of there like an arrow shoots out from a bow. That is the power of tshuka and rotzon. That's the power of David HaMelech. But we mustn't be turned back. We let ourselves, the Yetzorah Fadreit und Zazak, not just the Aveira, V'hosa Sotan Milfanenu Me'acharenu. Stating the Svarim, sometimes the Yetzorah means after the Aveira, more than the Aveira itself. Once the person becomes so miyuyish and so tzibroch, and he doesn't want to serve the Rebbeinu Shalom. And that's Avad the Yetzorah. The Tzaddikim say, what's the right the Yetzorah? Because a person only thinks these thoughts, he's not thinking about his Aveiras when he comes to daven, when he sits down to learn. He never thinks about it when he comes to sit down to eat. Why does he ever think about his Averis then? Because the Yetzirah wants him to enjoy his meal. When it comes time to learn, it comes time to daven, boss, when I'm going to daven, then I'm going to daven. Das is my Yetzirah, das is the Sotan me'acharenu. And we have to believe the Rebbeinu Shalom, that the David HaMelech said, Leif tor b'roli elokim v'ruach noch en chadish b'kibd. Was once a Meiser, Bochbe was once a Rabban. I don't remember exactly the pratim of the Meiser. Could be I may be saying some details on, but there was something, his father wasn't well, and he wasn't there by Yitzias Neshama, and he felt that he did a terrible avla, and he was by the Chafetz Chaim, and the Chafetz Chaim called him over. He said he was poigim in Kibbutz Av, he didn't treat his father right, he had a whole cheshbon Bochbe. What was bothering him? The Chafetz Chaim said, I don't understand you. You did tshuva? Es gesagt tshuva? Tshuva meint man is an anderer Mensch. You're a Beria Chadosha. You're not the same person you were yesterday. The Derech Pikudech and Akdome, he writes, is the reason people do not believe in the koyach of tshuva. They don't believe what it says in Chazal. If a person does tshuva, he's nitar. He becomes cleansed. He's a new person. He's a Beria Chadosha. The Sultan doesn't want to let him believe it. Semaisa Sultan, Semaisa Yetzeh. But if there's that shuka, there's the rotz and there's the cheshik. HaKadosh Baruch Hu helps. The Shmuel from the Slonima. So moyedike taich. V'nake lo yenake. Listen how he teaches. HaKadosh Baruch Hu menake es haish mi Yisrael sheba'atzmoi eini yochel kvar lenakos pagomov. Sometimes a person is in a matzav of lo yenak. He doesn't know what to do anymore about his pagomim. He doesn't know how to cleanse himself. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is menake those who are lo yenake. If omnom liboy boyer bekirboy lehiskarev la'avodosa yizborach. In his heart, he wants to be close to the Rebbeinu Shalom. Aval Yetzer Hara machshiloi kol pam mechodesh. The Yetzer Hara brings him down each time, again and again. Ad she'eni yochel lozos mimkam. He feels he can't move anymore. Lo yenake. Oisoi menake Hashem yizborach mikol pagamav. He, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, will cleanse, will be menake. The one who feels is lo yenake. Ich gezach nicht kan eitzem mit the Yetzer Hara. But it's liboy boye bekirboy la'avodas Hashem, and that will be our ultimate geula, the geula of David HaMelech, because the life of David HaMelech is the life story of Klal Yisrael. In Masechta Sanhedrin Daf Kuf Zayin says that David HaMelech was begging HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Mechoili, forgive me al oisei ovoin, forgive me for that chet. And the Eber said, Mocholoch. We begged, Asei mi ois letoiva v'yiru soina v'yevoishu, show, let those who tormented me see. And the Rebbeinu Shalom said, B'chayecho eini moidia. In your lifetime you won't see it. Aval ani moidia b'chaye Shloime bincha. In the days of Shloime, I will be moidia that your tikkun came. And the Gemara tells, B'shor shebona Shloimes Beis Hamikdash, when Shloim built the Beis Hamikdash, he tried to bring the Or into the Kodesh HaKadoshim, and Dovkus Shorim Zu B'zu, the gates closed, they didn't let in, and they said, Su Shorim Rasheichem, V'inosu Pischei Oilam, V'yolem Melech HaKovoid, and still it didn't open. Loinen, till they finally said, Hashem Elokim al toshev pnei mishichecho zochro lechazdei David avdecho miyad nena. They mentioned David HaMelech's name and the gates opened. Ba'oisasho nepchu pnei soinei David kishulei hakdeira. Then all those haters of David, their faces blackened like the bottom of a pot. V'yodu kol Yisrael shemochel HaKadosh Baruch, and all of Klal Yisrael knew. The history of Klal Yisrael is one long story of being told, of being mevuzah, of being pushed away, of being taunted, of being tormented, of not being recognized. But there will come a time when the Sha'arei Shamayim will open and everybody will know and will see it's Baba David Avdecho al Toshev Pnei Meshichecho. And then those, the Soinim, the haters of David Va'amai, will be Nishapchu Pneim Kishulei Hakdeiro. And we'll see that we were never pushed away. We have the koyach of lions, of aroyas goveru b'neshorim kalam aroyas goveru, to strengthen ourselves. Vayigbal libay b'darkei Hashem, not to hear the voice inside that says, go back to Moav, go back wherever you came from, turn back. You're a busha, you're a chlima. Not to hear the sound of kalem, adarabah. Bi'achtirut tzadikim, to be mamlech the chelik of Mashiach that's within each and every one of us, and lift it up until we'll be zoichet to see in the proclamation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's melucha ki Hashem amlucha Moshe ba'agoyim bizoiche ve'eineinu serena malchusecho kadover ha'am b'shira yuzecha al yidei David Mashiach tzidkecha.